Okay, hello everyone. For today, I am going to discuss the graphing linear function using the x and y intercepts. Let's begin by defining what is a linear function. So it's a function in the form of f of x equals mx plus b. And of course, this form of linear function is called the slope intercept form. It's because we can see the slope here and also the y-intercept. We call linear function also as a first degree polynomial, and when we graph a linear function, it is a straight line. And that is what we will be doing today. We will graph a linear function, but we will be using the concept of the x and y intercepts. So first, how do we define x-intercept, or what is an x-intercept? So here we can see that it is the intersection of the graph to the x-axis. Our x-axis here is the horizontal line, and this diagonal line is our graph. The intersection of those two is again the x-intercept. The coordinates of that point are 3 and 0, and I will emphasize this. The y-coordinate is equal to 0. For the y-intercept, on the other hand, it is the intersection of the graph to the y-axis. So same graph, and this intersection of the y and the graph is the y-intercept, of course. The coordinates are 0 and 1.5. And let me emphasize that our x-coordinate is equal to 0. Now, let's start by finding the x and y intercepts of this equation. So I will rewrite the problem first. Okay, 2x minus 4y equals 12, right? So since we know that in the x-intercept y is equal to 0, since y is equal to 0, for this equation, and we are solving for the x-intercept, we can just cross out the term with y and solve for x. Okay, we're solving for the x-intercept here. And then, using the division property of equality, divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 6. Right? Next, for the y-intercept this time. Now, since x is equal to 0, then we can just erase or cross out the term with x. And that will leave us with negative 4y equals 12. And of course, we're solving for y here. Division property of equality, divide both sides by negative 4. Therefore, y is equal to negative 3. And we will not leave the answers like that. We need to express that as a coordinate in the Cartesian plane. Okay, so those are our x and y intercepts. Let me give you another example. Okay, so let's have this one right here. Okay, I will start by rewriting the problem. Let's solve for the x-intercept, and just like what we did in the first example, we cross out that term with y because we are solving for the x-intercept, and that will leave us with negative 3x over 2 minus 6 is equal to 0. And then after that, we want to make this equation simpler, right? We don't want a fraction, so we will multiply both sides by 2. So if we will multiply that here, that will cross out, and then we will multiply that to negative 6. That this will be equal to negative 3x minus 12 equals 0, of course, right? And then addition property of equality, because that is negative 12. We cross that out. So that's negative 3x equals 12. And finally, divided by a negative 3 on both sides. and that will give us x equals -4. And like what I said, we need to express that as a coordinate in the Cartesian plane. So that would be -4, 0. Right? Next, let's have the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, we can cross out the term with x. Okay, we want this to become a simpler equation, so we do not want a fraction. We will get rid of that denominator. That will be crossed out. So this will give us y minus 12 equals 0. And then we add 12 on both sides using the addition property of equality, and this will give us 12. And of course, we should express that as a coordinate in the Cartesian plane, and that will give us 0 and 12 as our y-intercept. Okay, so now that we know how to find the x and y intercepts of an equation, let's apply that in graphing linear function or linear equation, like in this case. Okay, I will give you two examples. Let's start with this one. Of course, we will start with x and y intercept. So 3x plus 5y equals 30. We're solving for the x-intercept. We cross out the term with y. So this will give us 3x equals 30. And then division property of equality, divided by 3 on both sides. So x equals 10. Therefore, the coordinates are 10 and 0. Now we will locate, the next step is locate that in the Cartesian plane. So this is our 10 and 0, right? Next, let's have the y-intercept. Three x plus 5y equals 30. So for the y-intercept, we can cross out the term with y, and that will give us this, and then divided by 5 on both sides. Therefore, y equals 6, right? And then locate that, of course, in the Cartesian plane. The coordinates, of course, are 0 and 6. There we go. That's 0 and 6. And since we have 2 points now, we can just simply connect those 2 points. Sorry about the line. I know it's not straight line, but yeah, that's the graphical representation of that function. Let's move on to the last example. This is the last example. And after this, we're done. Oh, we're not yet done, of course. I need to solve this first. So we have 2 third x. By the way, we can rewrite that as this. So 2x over 3 minus y over 3 equals 4. Okay, let's begin by solving for the x-intercept. So we cross out the term with y. So this is 2x over 3 equals 4. Multiply both sides by 3. We want the equation to be simpler, so we just cross that out. So 2x equals 12. Division property of equality, cross that out. X equals 6. So therefore our x coordinates are, or our x-intercept rather, are our x-intercept is 6 and 0. Let's have the y-intercept. So 2x over 3 minus y over 3 equals 4. We're solving for the y-intercept. We can, get rid of that term with y, and that will leave us with negative y over 3 equals 4. And of course, the next step would be multiply both sides by 3. Multiplication property of equality. Again, we're doing this. We want to make this simpler by multiplying both sides by whatever in the denominator is. So if it's 5, you multiply it by 5. If it's 2, you multiply it by 2. But since it's 3, you multiply it by 3 on both sides. Now, of course, we want the y to be positive. We can do two things here. We can either use the multiplication property of equality or division property of equality. But of course, I understand most of you wants the division, so that will do. There you go. The coordinates, of course, are 0 and negative 12. Okay, and then let's locate this 2 in the Cartesian plane. This is 6 and 0. 0 and negative 12 is here. And then just connect those 2 points using a straight line. I know my line is not straight, but that's the best I can do. Okay, so thank you for watching. I hope you learned something.